Hi everyone, welcome to the Executive Event Planning Day. I'm Jialing and we shall begin now. Here is the table of contents on the topics that I will be covering. First, the macroeconomy and understanding the business cycle. In the macroeconomic context, there are three key indicators. Firstly, gross domestic production, GDP, is a primary indicator of a nation's output and income. It measures the total amount of everything produced within a specific economy and is used to analyze economic growth and compare across regions or nations. Secondly, inflation. It refers to the growth in the overall level of prices of goods and services in the economy. It measures the overall impact of price changes for a diversified set of products and services and is used to understand the purchasing power of an economy. And lastly, unemployment. It is a scenario where a person actively searches for employment but is unable to find a job. It measures the number of people in the labor force that are unemployed and is used to provide insights into how the economy is performing. This shows an overview of a real business cycle where the trend line shows the potential GDP, the wave shows actual GDP, contraction occurs from peak to trough, and expansion occurs from trough to peak. You all may be wondering how they are related to the macroeconomic indicators mentioned earlier. It's because the changes in each of these macroeconomic indicators are often used as an indicator of the general health of the economy and can provide insights into the business cycle. During the recession period, a country's output and inflation are lowered and unemployment rises, especially cyclical unemployment. This is because a slowdown in economic activity reduces consumer willingness to spend such that demands and supplies for the output decrease. Businesses lower prices to attract consumers and reduce costs by laying off workers. Vice versa for the recovery period. To react to economic shifts, it is necessary to analyze the data of macroeconomic indicators. This allows organizations including CRA Global TS to strengthen our strategic planning and decision making, hence having better preparation for the upcoming economic shifts. As an accounting firm, it is very relevant to us in understanding general economic conditions and the business cycle. This is because we can produce more relevant financial reports that reflect true economic conditions, anticipate market shifts, assess risks on issues like going concern, and advise our client on financial decisions during different phases. Next, aggregate demand and aggregate supply analysis. The Singapore government is planning a tax rebate in 2025 for all tax resident individuals. What effect will this policy bring to the Singaporean economy and what changes will it bring to CLA Global TS? In the long run, the aggregate supply will stay constant as the tax rebate is only applicable to year 2025 and has only a temporary effect on the economy. In the short run, the aggregate demand will shift right. This is because of the concept here. To elaborate, households have more disposable income and hence consumption increases, increasing the overall price level, which can be seen at point B. However, this results in inflation. Nominal income responds slower than the product price and workers' purchasing power is reduced. In this case, they will negotiate for higher nominal wages, which eventually results in the shift of leftwards for aggregate supply as the cost of production and labor costs increases. At point C, the long-run equilibrium is restored, but with a permanently higher price level. As an accounting firm, these changes will definitely impact CLA Global TS in certain ways, especially in the tech sector. Professionals will need to stay updated with the ever-changing tax policy to ensure the tax compliance of our clients during client advisory. Our professionals here will also need to ensure the accountability and accuracy of financial reporting based on the changes brought by the tax rebate. Next, tariffs and trade wars. This supply and demand model shows the typical effect of a tariff on the US market for goods and services. This is how the graph looks without trade. When the market opens up, this line here is the total supply in the US. Since supplies has increased, the price falls to here. And domestic production is the quantity supplied over here, while the quantity demanded is here. Original imports are equal to quantity demanded less quantity supplied. Now, let's say the US government imposes a tariff, the supply falls to supply with tariff, and the price increases to here. The total quantity demanded falls to here, and the domestic production increases to quantity supplied labeled here. Therefore, the new imports are equal to these quantities demanded less quantity supplied. In general, the total supplies from free trade without tariff and with tariff are deadweight loss created by tariff, which are in areal F and I. Also, the areal G and H is equal to total tariff revenue. During a free trade without tariff, producer supplies will be in areal J, otherwise it will be inclusive of E as well. This area will be the consumer supplies without tariff in a free trade, otherwise it will only be this area. In this case, the domestic producers are able to sell more products, and governments in the US generate revenue from tariffs. Therefore, they win from the tariff. Foreign exporters sell less, hence generating lesser income. Domestic consumers lose their consumer welfare as they pay more and buy lesser quantities than before. Thus, they lose from the tariff. This policy impacts our organization indirectly, as the needs for client advisory in areas like compliance with tariff regulations and impact on financial reporting may increase. Demands in areas like specialized and strategic tax advisory may rise as well. Lastly, insights from behavioral economics. The organization can make better business decisions by understanding behavioral economics, specifically how prospectively explains that people are loss averse and that their preferences can reverse depending on how choices are framed. These insights into risk perception lead to more effective strategies. In prospectively, individuals tend to emphasize more on losses than gains. This implies that people evaluate the risks that lead to gains separately from the risks that lead to losses. Some events that prove prospectively are games of chance, investing, and mundane, everyday human behavior. Preference reversal occurs when people's risk tolerance is not consistent. There are three types of people. A person that is risk averse prefers a certain payoff to a gamble with a higher expected value. As for risk neutral, they would choose the highest expected value regardless of the risk. The risk takers prefer gambling with lower expected values over a certain payout. Therefore, cognitive bias exists and influences human decision making. Let me share a few examples. Firstly, loss aversion. It occurs when the emotional impact of a loss outweighs the joy of an equivalent gain. One example would be our mood when we accidentally drop $10 somewhere versus when we find $10 on the street. Secondly, risk compensation. It occurs when people need to do decision making because of the direct relationship between feeling safe and taking risks. For example, during the first few waves of COVID-19 pandemic, people took more risks by not wearing a mask after getting one vaccine dose because it made them believe that they were immune. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.